Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of What's Next on Basketball Podcast. I am your host, as always, Jeremy, and we're here in episode 9. 9 episodes in, and we got a couple things to talk about. Actually, 2 things for today. First off, as always, appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. We've been doing this already for, I want to say, a month now. It has to be a month already, or almost a month. It's been a lot of fun. As always, I tell you guys about it and how I feel. It's been a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun doing this, and yeah, I'm excited. We're about to be 10 episodes in. That's so crazy. But I'm still trying to figure out things, when it comes to like the YouTube. The YouTube should be getting very, very close to finishing. I decided that for the first couple episodes, this one might not get that same fate. I'll probably try to edit it if I can. But the other 8 episodes that I had previously already done, I'm just going to have, a little like, what are they called? Like a little thumbnail, in the video. And that'll probably be the picture for the whole thing. So it's basically going to be another like audio, but for YouTube. As for like episodes 9, hopefully 9 and further on, I should be able to do, a little bit more editing, figuring out here and there. It's not going to be good editing, but, it's a start. I'm going to try to do a good job at doing the edits, and yeah, there's that. So definitely expect that very, very soon. I've already been trying to get that all situated for you guys, because I know that'll probably be easier for a lot of you, because I know with Spotify, you have to pay for it, and no one really wants to pay for it, so why not just do YouTube? Everybody uses YouTube, and it could just be something, you just put on for YouTube and listen to in the background like you would with Spotify, but at least, you're not going to get probably as many ads on there. And I know there's a lot of people that just don't have just a Spotify account, so this is just easier for them. It's just everyone has YouTube, so yeah, there's that. I told you guys about it before, but just to keep an update on it, there's that and just how that's going. But now let's get into the main topics at hand. Let's see what's next on basketball. So, first topic we'll get into, I'm not going to say the second one, we'll just get into the first one right away. It's about Joel Embiid. So for those of you that just didn't hear about it yet, there have been a lot of talks about Joel Embiid and possible teams he might be traded to. Now you're probably wondering, Jeremy, why are we talking about Joel Embiid getting traded? Joel Embiid has not come out with a trade, nor has ESPN even said like that, Joel or the team announced any trades. And you're right, they didn't announce any trades, but you see, recently there was a video where Joel Embiid was on I guess it was like a talk show or something with someone, I don't know who their name is, but the clip went around about Joel Embiid basically saying how obviously he really wants to win a chip, and he said whether it's with Philly or with another team, he wants to win a chip at any cost, like no matter what it takes. So this obviously made the NBA world start bringing out rumors, start putting, ideas out there that weren't really put out there to begin with, but me being a content creator now when it comes to basketball, I gotta talk about it. I gotta let you guys know and give my opinions on it. Maybe how I feel about the teams that are in talks of potentially getting him. It's no secret, obviously, that Joel Embiid would be in trade talks. The 76ers, since the entire time he's been there, have not even made it past the second round. I talked about it with you guys and how I feel about Joel Embiid. I feel like with him as a player, I'm just annoyed with his play, with his game and how he plays sometimes. I just hate the whole flopping thing, and it's like with him, it's just like he always chokes in the playoffs, and people have, done some counterpoints that I will discuss as well when it comes to his playoff experience and just, his situations, we'll say, when it comes to the playoffs. So I'll talk about that, but it's just he is just a player that I don't really like, and obviously my team is always in the talks when it comes to the New York Knicks. Any superstar that has any potential, maybe even the slight chance of getting traded somewhere, the Knicks are always going to be they're always going to be like big targets that, like reporters are going to be like, oh, maybe he'll go here. When in reality, the Knicks don't want him. And then when the Knicks don't get him, everyone laughs at us for not getting that superstar. Now, obviously saying all that, let's just get right into it for the teams. So, let's see. Reading here, there's about, 8? Yeah, 8. There's 8 teams on here that were told had the highest interest when it came to Joel Embiid, and they even started putting the odds for, who had the most likely chance. We're going to start at the bottom, and then we'll make our way to the top. So the first team is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, the Oklahoma City Thunder have a plus 1,000 to get Joel Embiid. And what I'm going to do with each team is I'm just going to give my opinion on it, and just, one, do I think they have the trade? Do I even think they have the assets to trade for Joel Embiid? And 2, if he were to go on the team, do I think he would fit, or, would it be a good idea? So when it comes to the Thunder, first thing first is that they definitely have the assets to trade for Joel Embiid. Looking on it here right now, let's see. Where is the Oklahoma City Thunder? Remember, guys, I am a professional, but also not at the same time. So let's look here. Yeah, they have plenty of players that they could trade. They got Dort, Giddey, SGA, Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Joe. They have, I don't know how to say the one guy's name, but he's that other tall dude on the Thunder. They got Jalen Williams, the good Jalen Williams. Sorry, the other Jay Williams. The other one's just better than you. I think they also got like some good guys in the... Oh, they got Keontae Johnson, who was another good player. I think he's the one that just got drafted this year, or am I mistaken? I believe he just got drafted this year. Yes, he did, and he's a promising player. Who else do they have? They also have Jared Butler. They have guys, like, just alone, they have SGA and Chet, who, even Giddey too. Those are guys they could definitely put in trade. When it comes to Joel Embiid, I'm sure the Thunder would easily give away any of these guys to get Embiid. It's a no-brainer there. Yes, I have my opinions on Joel Embiid, but when it comes to, any owner or GM, it's a no-brainer that you get Joel Embiid. And I'm not a GM, so obviously my opinion doesn't matter as much as theirs. So you guys are probably like, wow, that's kind of hypocritical. You're saying you don't like Joel Embiid, but you think it'd be a good option, for the Thunder to get him? Yeah, I am probably being a little bit of a hypocrite, but at the same time, you got to remember, he is a former MVP. Whether he deserved it or not, he is. So people are going to look at him at that status. And it's just another one of those things. Yes, he's not good in the playoffs, and I've said that many times, but he is good in the regular season. And this was actually the points that I was going to talk about. I'll say it here right now. People are trying to say how, Joel Embiid just hasn't had the best guys around him. And you could make that argument. Like, he had someone like Jimmy Butler on his team for a year or two, but ended up not getting re-signed because they wanted Tobias Harris on their team because they thought he was more worthy of a contract than Jimmy Butler, which is kind of crazy. Even back then, to say that they'd rather have Tobias Harris. It's not even like because of like how Jimmy Butler's career has been going now. Even back then, that was crazy to say that they'd rather have him than Jimmy. So there's that. So you can make an argument that they haven't put the best guys around him. And you could even make the argument too that him going to the Thunder wouldn't help either. But, I'm just saying. They're going to get him. Like, it's no brainer that anyone would trade him. Even the Knicks, I'm sure they would get him too. And I'm sure I would probably, be against it at first. But once he starts showing us, if he's just showing that he can win for the team and get us a chip, then like all of my hate, I won't say hate, but my dislikes towards Joel Embiid will all go away. I'll even do a whole apology if he joins the team and helps us win a chip. But until then, I just don't really like him as a player. So, yeah. And as I said, they definitely have the draft assets, the Thunder, to get Joel Embiid. Do I think he would be a good fit for the team? No. I know I said yeah, like obviously the Thunder would want him, but do I think he's a good fit? No. The Thunder right now have a bunch of young guys that they're trying to, help train and go to that next level. You got players like Josh Giddey, SGA, Chet, even Chet now, who I think are probably NBA ready and are ready for that next level. So maybe you could make the argument that him on the Thunder, maybe they would be fine. I just don't think they're just there yet where we can be like, okay, these guys are a championship team. Do I think they're a playoff team? Yeah. Do I think they're a second round team? I could see a second round team. Do I think they're a conference, like, championship team? No. And then obviously they're nowhere near, in my opinion, an NBA Finals champion team. Like, it just seems like if he would go there, it would just be the same fate as the 76ers. And with Joel Embiid, he is older than the rest of them. So he's not going to sit here and just wait for these guys to get better. So I don't think it would be a good fit at all. And it makes sense why they're probably at the bottom for the odds. Next is the Utah Jazz. So the Utah Jazz have a plus 850 to get Joel Embiid. Now, when it comes to not draft assets, but just assets in total, they definitely have it as well. They could give, honestly, most of the team to get Joel Embiid. So for that's not much of a worry, I would say. What is a worry is the fit. Again, just like when it came to the Thunder, but this is even worse, I would say, for the Jazz. To give up what they would get for Joel Embiid would basically give up the whole team and what's good about them. The only good players they really have on the team is Lauri Markkanen, who just became an all-star, and you could even argue Colin Sexton. Other than that, you probably have some really good role players, but no player that I would consider a star. Maybe John Collins, because I did talk about in the previous episode where I think John Collins might potentially maybe have like a huge jump this season, and maybe we'll see him as the player that we all hoped for him to be. And yeah, there's that, but I don't think he would be a good fit. I think he would actually be a worse fit on the Jazz than the Thunder, because at least the Thunder have really good young players. I even talked about it before. This was probably like my early episodes. I want to say like episode 3, episode 4, where I talked about, where I talked about them being a potential future super team if they keep the players together. At least with the new CBA rule, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anymore, but they could still keep like Chet, SGA, maybe Josh Giddey. I'm sure they could keep those guys and still have a super team, in my opinion. So my point still stands for them. But back to the Jazz. Yeah, I don't think the Jazz, I'm surprised they have a higher odds than the Thunder, honestly. I would have put them lower. But for sure, I don't see them getting Joel Embiid. Give me a second. Let me get some water real quick. Stay hydrated, guys. It's really good to get some water. If you haven't drank any water, go get some water. But next up is honestly the one I was surprised being this low when it came to the odds, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers. Actually, no. Now thinking about it, it makes sense for the Los Angeles Lakers to be so low, because here's the problem with them. They, I would say, are not good when it comes to assets to trade for Joel Embiid. Yes, they have players that they could give, but they don't have any draft picks that I'm sure the 76ers would want. To put it simple, if the 76ers were to trade Joel Embiid, they're not gonna look for another star. If they do, I'd be surprised, but most likely they're going to try to get draft assets and rebuild the team, which they should be doing. They'll probably rebuild the team, trade most of their guys, and do all that stuff. Unless they want to rebuild around Tyrese Maxey and get like a guy for him. If they're not doing that, then, I don't really see the 76ers trying to get someone like an AD or whatever just to repeat the cycle of them having a star that's not going to go anywhere. So that's the problem I have with the Lakers, because they don't have any draft picks. I think their next draft pick is like 2029, which Sixers are probably going to be like, they'll take it, but it's just not enough. When it comes to players, they have plenty of players that they could use. Apologize if you hear anything in the background. It's probably my family, but yeah, I can see why they're a plus 650, if I didn't say that before. The Lakers are plus 650 for getting Joel Embiid. So it makes sense why they're this low. When it comes to fit, oh yeah, I think Joel Embiid would fit perfect with the Lakers. They have a team that he could easily be built around. Let's say they were to trade AD for Joel. It would be awesome. It would be perfect because I think AD's a center. Because I think he plays the center, unless he's a power forward. Let me check here. Is AD? Where are the stand-ins here? Let's all take a little check here. See if you guys know your stuff here. Someone's probably already telling me he's a center. But guess what? I can't hear you because this is a pre-recorded podcast, so I can't even hear what you're saying. Oh yeah. Oh, he is a power forward. Huh. But he usually plays the center, right? Who's their center usually on the team? Come on. He's definitely playing center. Let's stop it. No way he's not playing center. Maybe they'll try to put Jackson Hayes, which I'm surprised they got him. That's so crazy they got Jackson Hayes. I hope he can shine with the Lakers because he just seems like a really good pick. Anyways, yeah, I for sure think they could get him. There's no way they can't get AD if they would trade Joel. Because everyone claims how AD's, he's this great, superstar and stuff. I have my opinions on AD, which we're not going to get into him. But he can be a lot. So let's say that. Let's say he were to take... Oh, okay, well, if we want to put it that way, if AD's the power forward, they could trade someone like Rui Hachimura and a lot of other good young guys, and then it could be the lineup of like LeBron, AD, who's their point guard? Oh, Gabe Vincent, who's probably going to be the starting point guard. And then, Joel and whoever else they want. So that's a good pick there. Ignore the voice crack. You guys didn't hear nothing. Now, fit, he'd be really good. So moving on. Next is the Miami Heat. They have a plus 550 to get Joel Embiid. This would be fun. That would be a really interesting team. I'll start with fit, just because since I'm already talking about it. I think he would be a really fun fit for the Miami Heat. They're the team, they're like the New York Knicks when it comes to we're just missing that one superstar to lead the team. And that's what the Miami Heat are. They have Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, who actually did pretty okay. They don't have Gabe Vincent no more, which I don't know why they didn't get back Gabe Vincent. Actually, who do they have on the team now? It's like a lot of their guys in free agency all were like gone, which I was so surprised they let so many go. Oh, they got Kyle Lowry still. They have Kevin Love. They have Cody Zeller, who destroyed the Knicks, so I guess we can consider him a good player. Orlando Robinson as a center. Okay, maybe they're a little bit iffy when it comes to the bench, but when it comes to the key players like Jimmy, Bam, Love, Lowry. Yes, I'll still count Kyle as a good player. They have those guys, and I'm sure they could do something like maybe Bam or Embiid at the 4. That could easily be arranged. So that could be a fun, a little fun team. Do I think they have the assets? Oh yeah, they definitely have the assets that they could give back to the 76ers. So that's no worry there. I think they have enough. Do they have enough picks? Well, then again, yeah, they have picks, because let's say they want Bam Adebayo back, the 76ers, they could just trade Bam, and then Embiid would be the new guy, and then you can have Jimmy and Bam going back at it. Because I just told you guys how Bam and Jimmy were going really far. If you guys remember, all that happened was it was one Kawhi shot that made them lose in the playoffs. They could have been going to the conference finals, maybe even the NBA finals. We could have been talking about the 76ers being the 2019 NBA champs. But instead, we talked about the Raptors, so there's that. But, to get back to the key point I'm trying to say, it would be a good fit, in my opinion, when it comes to the Heat. They definitely have the assets for it that they could trade. I'm very confident they have enough draft picks. I could be wrong on that. I don't know much when it comes to everyone's draft picks. Unless you ask me 2K, I could tell you that, but I don't know anyone's draft picks in real life. So now we're going on to the next team. They're fourth highest when it comes to betting odds, and it's the New Orleans Pelicans with a 450 in odds. So this is very interesting because do I think they have the assets to get him? Yeah, for sure. They have the assets to trade for Joel Embiid. Do I think he'd be a good fit? Not really. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on this, but the only guy on their team that's fun to watch. Here, hold on, before I say that, let me check out the players here. Because obviously they have Brandon Ingram, which was the guy I was going to say, but in case they have someone else. They have Jose Alvarado, but I don't want to consider him a star. They have Jonas Valanciunas, who's a good center. I like him. Obviously they have Zion. It's just, unfortunately, with the situation with Zion, I don't know when he would come back. So, you know what? Let's say this. Let's say Zion comes back. So we're looking at a lineup potentially with Zion, Jonas Valanciunas, Brandon Ingram, Joel Embiid, and let's say the point guard is Jose Alvarado. That would be a pretty scary lineup. Honestly, you have, what would it be? I think Joel Embiid is 7 something. Jonas is 6'11", Brandon 6'8", Zion is 6'6". I thought he was taller. And then Jose Alvarado, who's 6 foot. So pretty fairly tall guys. I don't know if 6 foot and 6 foot's probably not considered tall in the NBA. So it'd be what, Zion and up? Would it be 6'6" and up would be probably considered somewhat tall? But other than that, you got Brandon Ingram, who is definitely an all-star. Zion, who's definitely an all-star, should be a superstar, but has unfortunately been dealing with some problems. Jonas Valanciunas, who I really, really like. I like his game. I would consider him an all-star. Do I think he's a superstar? No. But I do think he's fun to watch. He is getting older. That's no question there. He's 31 years old. He just turned 31 from what it looks like, so he'll be 31 for the new season, and it looked like he decreased this season when it came to his stats. He went from averaging 18 points in the 21-22 season to averaging 14 points in the 22-23 season. So that's not a good look there. Rebounds, he went down by 1. He went down, what about assists? He went down assists, he went down blocks, he went down steals. He went down a little bit with personal fouls, so that's good. He went down in turnovers, so that's good. He still shoots the same percentage, which was around 55%. He did play more games, though, last season compared to the 21-22 season, but it was only by 5, so it's not a huge difference. For most of his career, though, that's where he usually plays around. He's played a lot of games in the 80s, 80 games, so you're going to have a pretty healthy guy. Last season, he only missed, what would have been, 3 games? Yeah, 3 games. So, you're going to get a good, healthy guy there. I don't know why I'm talking about him. He just, I just started rambling on about Jonas Valanciunas there, but he's a good player too, so I just don't know. I don't know if he would fit, though, because this doesn't seem like a championship team. It just seems like another situation where you have to get 1 or 2 more pieces to try and be a contender. So that's why I don't think he's a good fit, because like Joel Embiid said, he's looking to win a championship. He's not trying to sit there again, waiting for the team to get good. And with Zion Williamson, I'm sure he's not really too keen on joining a team that's facing an issue like that. To put into perspective, to let everyone know here, Joel Embiid is 29 years old, and yes, that is still considered fairly young because he's still in his 20s. He just turned 20 earlier this year, so for most of the next season, he's going to be in 29/30. So he's in his prime right now. He wants to win a championship. I don't know if he's going to win multiple like we all assumed, but he wants to win a championship. He's not here to sit around hoping that Zion's I just gotta wait until I feel like Zion. No, he's not sitting there waiting to hear something like that. He wants to go for a championship. And if the Pelicans aren't ready for a championship, then why would he want to go there? So when it comes to assets, yes, the Pelicans got it. When it comes to fit, nah, they don't got it. I don't think it's that. Now, we're moving on to the third highest odds when it comes to the teams, and that's the Dallas Mavericks with a 350 in odds. The Dallas Mavericks. So when it comes to trade assets, I'm pretty certain they're like okay when it comes to it. Like if they were to trade for him, I think they have a really good shot at trading some good stuff away. You know, they got I'll say this. When it comes to the Mavericks, they better hope they have a lot of picks because they don't have a lot of good guys on here where if I was the 76ers, I'm like, oh yeah, I want that guy. Maybe they want Grant Williams. Grant Williams is not too bad. Just don't let him shoot free throws because even if he says he's going to make both, do not count on that. They got Christian Wood. Maybe they're interested in Christian Wood. They have Seth Curry. Maybe they want to bring back Seth. I'm pretty sure he used to be on the 76ers. Let's check here. Yeah, he was there for 2 years. So before he got traded to Brooklyn, that's what happened. Yeah. But they can bring back Seth Curry. I'm sure the fans would like him. Now, when it comes to fit, easily, this would be a perfect fit for the Mavericks. Their key problem right now that I talked about before is defense. Now, they were able to draft that rookie in the recent draft thing, which was Derek Lively, who I told you guys I had a lot of high hopes in, and I think he'll be a really good player if they give him the minutes and the time. So if they were to go somewhere like, I don't know, the 76ers, and in this situation, we're going to say that they try to rebuild, hey, the process 2.0, they could be like, listen, the center we had beforehand might have not worked, guys, but check out this new center. He's from Duke. Everybody likes Duke players, right? Zion was there. RJ Barrett, the GOAT, was there. Yeah, that's right. The GOAT. Didn't Jason Tatum play for Duke? I could be mistaken on that. I hope I'm not wrong, but I'm pretty sure Jason Tatum played for Duke. So, hey, another guy there. Seth Curry played for Duke, and everyone likes Seth Curry. Let me check here. Did Jason Tatum? I know I keep rambling off, guys, but, you know, this is what you expect from my podcast. I'm just here to talk about basketball and have fun with it. So, I just like checking things like this because it actually really interests me because I don't really check college basketball like that. Obviously, I'm going to try to do it more in this upcoming season because I would like to talk to you guys about that. And it's just nice watching these guys go from the college level to the NBA level and seeing their career play through just to see how fun it gets for them. Yeah, he went to Duke, so Jason Tatum was from Duke. Hey, listen, I'm just saying, there's a lot of good players that came from Duke, so he already has some high potential in being a good player. That's all I'm saying. So I'm sure the 76ers, you know, they could be like, hey guys, trust the process 2.0. We mean it this time for real. We're not going to mess them up this time. So, yeah, there's that. But back to the fit thing. It would be a great fit. Come on now. You're telling me that a team that has Luka, Kyrie, and Joel Embiid is not going to be a good fit? If Joel Embiid were to join that team and they would be able to keep both Luka and Kyrie, they're easily, in my opinion, championship contenders. I don't care what anyone says. They have a pretty decent bench that I would say is arguably like good enough to help them out. They could get a couple pieces here and there if they don't feel confident with it, but yeah, I would consider them championship caliber team easily. They really need defense, and Joel Embiid will help them with that defense. So definitely, like if I would give a grade for it, that'd be an A+ fit when it comes to the Mavericks. Now, 2 teams left. Both are New York teams. We'll start off with the second highest, which is the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets have a 250 in odds when it comes to getting Joel Embiid. Why do they have the second highest? I have no idea. The only thing I can think of is that they have, I guess they have a lot of picks that they could get in return. Because they traded... Oh yeah, they probably do have a lot of picks because they traded... Didn't they trade James... Yeah, they traded James Harden to get Ben Simmons, and I think it came with a good couple picks. They traded away Kevin Durant and got a lot of picks back, I remember that. Same thing with Kyrie Irving, they trade him, got a lot of picks back. So they definitely have assets, even players. They have Cameron Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Spencer Dinwiddie. They got Dorian Finney-Smith if he wants to join the 76ers. They have, they could trade Ben Simmons if they want to bring Ben Simmons back to the Sixers. Little reunion there. I'm sure the fans would love to see Ben Simmons. He definitely didn't do anything wrong for that organization. They got Lonnie Walker, who's another good pick. Cam Thomas, Dennis Smith Jr. They have Nick Claxton. That's right. They don't have... What was his name? He's on the Pistons now. He was a really good shooter. Let me look up his name because it's going to drive me crazy if I... Joe Harris. They had Joe Harris, but now he's on the Pistons, so no point in talking about him, I guess. I'm surprised they let Joe Harris walk. I thought he was a really good player. I would have wanted him on my team if it was up to me. So yeah, they definitely have assets. That's nothing they have to worry about. When it comes to fit, I don't, not really. I don't know if I would see it as a good fit. I could be wrong, because we've seen plenty of teams where like they have that one key superstar and then they have all the good role players around him, and if it is that case, they could easily win with Joel Embiid. You got Spencer, Mikal, all the players I just mentioned that could easily be good role players or like number 2 players on the team. Obviously, Mikal Bridges has been, I would say, the one that's been leading the charge when it comes to being like the leader on this team and being the guy that shoots everything. And since he's had such a huge jump when it comes to like his points and it's just his overall play, he could probably be the number 2 guy next to Joel Embiid, and they could be a dark horse when it comes to winning a championship. I would not be surprised if they had a really good chance of winning the championship. So when it comes to fit, I'll say yeah, like I could see it. I could see it being a good fit. Now talking more and more about it. Do I think it's like 100% like this could be a perfect fit? No. But I think it could be a fit that could shock us. And we've seen many things in the past where we got shocked by teams where we thought they weren't going to do good and they end up doing really good. So I would not be shocked if Joel could win a chip with Brooklyn here. And oh my God, forget about it. If Brooklyn wins a chip, Knicks fans are never going to hear the end of it about how Brooklyn won a chip quicker than they did. And the Knicks have been, what was it? Brooklyn has only been a team for, I don't even think 10 years yet. Oh, wait, no, I think they have been here for 10 years. All right, guys, we're going to do it again. Let's see. How long have the Brooklyn Nets been around? How long have the Brooklyn Nets been in Brooklyn? Since 2012. Okay, so it has been. It's like been almost 12 years now that the Brooklyn Nets have, been a team. So we would never hear the end of it. We've been a team for 12 years and we got a chip before y'all. And then they're going to start saying they're the Kings. They're the ones who run New York. Oh man, we would never hear the end of it. It would be the worst thing to happen to Knicks fans. I hope that doesn't happen. I do not want to hear that. And okay, I'll say good fit. Not perfect, but I can see it. Now, the number 1 team that has the highest odds, according to all these betting sites and everybody that's been talking about it. I told you guys they're always in talks about it. It is my team, the New York Knicks. The Knicks have a plus 200 in odds when it comes to getting Joel Embiid. Now, assets. For sure, we could easily get him and give back good players, good picks that we would not be worried about. Now, when it comes to fit, perfect. He's the guy we're looking for. The superstar, the key piece that we would need to be a championship team. Now, as I said before, would I personally want him on the team? No, but I know that's an unpopular opinion because, again, it's just a situation of if you have a superstar that's out there, you're going to get him, no questions asked. 10 times out of 10, you're going to trade for him. Because, yes, he is a former MVP. He is a former scoring champion. He always averages like 30-something points, and this time he will have a fairly decent, not even decent, a good team around him. You're going to have Jalen Brunson, who could be the number 2 guy for you and has shown that he is an incredible leader and player. So if Joel Embiid doesn't want to be that leader, we could have Brunson still be the leader. You have RJ Barrett, which, yes, I know, RJ is mid, I know, but I still see potential in RJ Barrett. He's 23 years old, so he still has potential in being that guy that could help us. You got Julius Randle, who obviously is a good player on his own, Emmanuel Quickley, Mitchell Robinson, Quentin Grimes, Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, who we just signed. You have Isaiah Hartenstein, who, he's okay. I'm not a big fan of him, but you have him, Miles McBride, Jericho Sims, which I wish Jericho Sims got more minutes. He could probably be one of the people that we would trade for Joel. I could see him in the package. So overall, we have players we could trade and players that could help play around Joel Embiid. So, in my opinion, this is a perfect fit for Joel Embiid. He would definitely be able to help us win that ship. And as I said, if he were to, join the New York Knicks, I would instantly, the second they win a championship, I would celebrate, obviously. But after my celebration, I'm hopping right on, recording, and giving you guys, I don't even know, an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, a whole speech on why I apologize for saying Joel Embiid is trash. And I'll even go as far to say he's probably the GOAT of NBA, which I know is going pretty far. But, I'll make a whole speech about how he's the best center ever. He's the best player in the entire world. That I apologize for everything on him. But we're not there. And he's not on the team. So until then, you're trash, Joel. But in all seriousness, he's a good player. He would be a good fit for the Knicks. It's a no-brainer there. Everyone talks about it. We've been saying it for years that the Knicks need just that key superstar to help us win. And now people are really saying it because when you look at this team, that's literally what they're missing. It's just they need that guy. Jalen Brunson said that he's not our savior, and I do believe him. Yes, he helped us go into that next step, but I do believe what Jalen Brunson says. I don't think he's going to be the savior for us. We need someone else that is, and Joel could be that savior. We like our, isn't Joel French? Oh shoot, isn't he French? Because I always hear him speak French, so I'm pretty sure Joel Embiid is French. We like our European players. We got a couple, so we're kind of like the Spurs, where we just like our, what would it be, the the West Coast over there. We like all of our players over there. Let's see. I think he is. Again, guys, this is what I do. I just like learning new things that I didn't really know about. Where's Joel Embiid? Ah, here he is. Oh no, he went to Kansas. Really? I did not know he went to college. I did not know he played college basketball. I could have sworn he was French, though. Isn't he French? I'm just going to say he's French. I don't know if he is or not. But, yeah, they like their players over there. So, it'd be a nice little fit there. I'm sure the Knicks fans would love to have Joel Embiid. So, there's that. I'm not too keen on him. But if he can help us win, then that's all that matters at the end of the day. So, yeah, that's all I got to say for that. So, let me know your guys' thoughts. You can message me on Instagram or whatever. I'll probably have a thing too on Spotify that you can answer to message me on how you feel about the Joel Embiid. Where do you think he's going to go? Do you think he's going to go to the Knicks? Do you think he's going to go to the Nets, the Lakers? Or do you think he's going to go to another team that I didn't mention on here? I only talked about the teams that had the highest odds because I didn't feel like there was any point in talking about every single team. It just made it easier that, these are the teams everyone feels like he could potentially go to instead of talking about teams that no one thinks he has a shot at. Do I think all these teams that I just mentioned were the teams that I would see him going to? No. I already told you. There was 2 or 3 teams where I was like, I don't even know why they're on the list because they just don't make any sense for him to join. So, yeah, there's that. Now, let's move on to the second topic that I was going to talk about today and the final topic, which, so what are we in? We're in the middle of the summer now. The season doesn't start until October, so I've been kind of waiting on talking about things when it comes to my predictions on the stand-ins for this season coming up. I was going to talk about I don't know what I was going to do. I was either going to do top 25 players or top like 50, but I feel like 50 would be a lot to talk about. So I might end up doing top 25 players heading into the season. I was going to talk about, who I think has the most likely shot at winning the championship this year. Obviously, I want to do like I have, some other things. I won't spoil everything, but I have ideas that I want to talk about, but those aren't going to happen until when we get closer and closer to the season. So, to make up for that, I decided to talk about something that I feel like I can talk about now since, the draft is over, the free agency is over. We have like maybe one or two big trades we're still waiting for, aka the Damian Lillard, and I think the James Harden. I don't know if the James Harden trades just stopped. I know he was like talked about getting traded, but I haven't heard anything else about it. So I guess the Sixers and Harden decided to work on an agreement. If not, he's still another person I could see, but those are probably not going to happen for a while. I already told you guys I don't expect games to happen until like the very, very beginning of the season or around the trade deadline. So yeah, there's that. Hold on, let me get a quick water before we get into this next topic. Alright, so what I'm going to talk about, since this is the thing I can talk about, is I'm going to talk about the teams and who you guys should try to watch. Who I'm going to watch, basically, is what this whole thing's going to be. This season. Basically, if you still don't know what I'm trying to say, what I'm basically trying to explain is that I have what we're going to say a tier list. Obviously, I'm not going to use that website. I'm just going to tell you, like, I have categories from S all the way to F, and it's just basically saying how high I would say like you should definitely like tune into these teams. S, what I wrote down here, let me actually pull it up. Where is it? Here it is. So S I have as the highest tier that you can be on, and I put on there must watch TV. So that means these teams are the ones you're going to want to watch this season and try to watch most of them, if not all the games. And then you go all the way down to the F, which I named TV turns off. So S, as I said, is must watch TV. The A tier is definitely check them out. So these are the teams that you're going to be like, oh yeah, like definitely tune in on them. You might not watch every single game, but they're definitely teams you want to like keep updated with throughout the season. Then we have tier B, which is keep an eye on. These are the teams where you're like, I don't know if I'm really going to watch them, but I definitely will like, be observant and be looking at the news if anything comes around these teams, because they have a chance of being good. So that's why I have it as keep an eye on them. Tier C is just might watch some games. These are the teams where I don't really see much we'll say excitement towards these teams or any key players where I'm like, I definitely want to watch them and check them out. Or like these are the teams where I'm like, they have potential young guys, but they're nowhere near where I'm like, yeah, these are the guys that are going to win a championship. To basically say what that means. When it comes to like tier B and higher, I think these teams do have a chance, but like tier C and below, these are the teams where I'm like, they don't got a chance at winning a championship. Maybe going to the playoffs, that is a possibility, but I don't see them win a championship this year. Now tier D, this is, as the name says, is just not that interesting. These are the teams that I just don't really care much about. I don't think they have anyone that I'm too keen on, and I might watch at most 10 games, or maybe if the Knicks are playing them, I'll watch it. Or if there's a team that I said in the higher tiers that you should watch, maybe I'll just see them there too. But not teams I'm going to really be looking at this season, unless something crazy happens, of course. And then the final tier is, as I said, TV turns off. These are the teams where straight up, if I'm seeing them play, I'm going to do something else, because I do not care what these teams do and where they go this season, because I just don't think they have anybody interesting that I care about, and I don't see them at all even making the playoffs. Maybe that's a little exaggerant for one of the teams, but still, I don't care about them. So, now, we're going to start at the bottom. And then, as I did with the Joel Embiid trades, we start at the bottom and we'll make our way to the top. So, F tier, which is TV turns off. There's two teams I have on here. The first one being the Chicago Bulls. This shouldn't have been a surprise to anybody. The Chicago Bulls at this point in time, they don't look good at all. They barely made any trades, and if they did, they weren't very good. They barely had any sign-ins this free agency. They look like the same team, if not worse. So I'm just not interested in them. Like, yeah, they have DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, but there's been rumors about them trying to trade LaVine. I'm sure they're going to trade DeRozan. I'm sure if Kenny, if you're hearing this, bro, I apologize, but your team just does not look fun to watch. There's no one on there where I'm like, I want to check these guys out. This is definitely the team where I'm like, the only time I'm watching them is if the Knicks are playing them. So, yeah, they're instantly turning TV off if I see these guys. Just no future I see right now where they're going to be winning. They're probably going to end up being a lottery team for at least a couple of years. I don't think they'll be there very long. I just think they're not fun, to say the least. And the second team, this one, a part of it is me being serious, but a part of it is also me, doing it for the trolls. It's the Los Angeles Clippers. Yeah, you guys got scared there. You thought I was going to say the Lakers, huh? Yeah, no. Lakers, I'll talk about them way, way later. If you know, you know. So, the Clippers. You guys know how I feel about the Clippers. I think they're one of the most laughable franchises ever in the NBA. I do not plan on watching them. They're going to be the same situation, whether it's the Knicks or any other teams that I want to watch. That's the only time I'll see the Clippers, is if they're facing them. Because I don't care about the Clippers. I don't care about a franchise that has two players that just always are trash in the playoffs. One that doesn't play all the time and gets hurt all the time. Paul George, I like Paul George. He's cool. But there's just nothing. There's nothing on that team that is going to make me interested in watching them. You have Paul, Russ, Kawhi. It's like, okay, these are all good players on their own, all Hall of Fame caliber players, but they're just not, I'm not interested in them. I don't care about this team. I know, obviously, as I said, it's also trolls. It's just, to be fair, I could have put them in the C tier, even the D tier. All right, this is just me being a little bit more dramatic about it. But again, it's just LOL. It's the Clippers, so that's why I put them at the bottom. Nothing much more to say. Just Clippers, trash. Moving on. We're going on to the D tier, which is not that interesting. I have two teams on here. First up is the Toronto Raptors. Nothing to say bad about this team. It's just now that Fred VanVleet is gone, they still have Pascal Siakam, who I really like. They're the same situation when it comes to the Chicago Bulls. I just don't see them as a championship team. Playoffs? Yeah, sure. They could definitely make the playoffs if they try really hard. But I don't see them as a team that's going to win it all. They're probably going to end up going in the lotteries for the next couple years. They have Scotty Barnes. I like Scotty Barnes. I hope his game keeps improving. But they're just not a team I don't see that interest in. This is the tier where I might watch at most 10 games. They're just not, that's it. Probably 10 games, and yeah. Next up is the Utah Jazz. Again, same thing. They don't have players that I find interesting. Lauri Markkanen, yeah, he's an all-star, but he's not enough for me to want to watch this team. I might tune in more with them compared to the Raptors, just because they have John Collins, and as I said before, I feel like John Collins is gonna have a good season. I'm really on the John Collins train. I think he might end up having a season to show everyone that he still has it, and there's really that. Other than that, I don't care about the Jazz. Now we're moving on to the C tier. We have a couple more teams on here. We're looking at 8 teams. We have 8 teams in the C tier, which is might watch some games. This is more in the lines of when I say some games, I'm talking 20, 25, maybe even 30. teams that I'll be looking at. 30 games, excuse me, that I'll be watching. These are the teams where they definitely have a shot at being very good, but they're just not at the top of my list of teams that I'm going to be really looking forward to when it comes to this season. First up is the Brooklyn Nets. I already talked about the Brooklyn Nets. I feel like they have a lot of really cool young guys that are going to be fun to watch, which is why I would tune into their games. They have Cameron Johnson and Mikal Bridges. Those two alone, I would watch them. They're so much fun. They're really good players. The Nets obviously are in a rebuild phase, so having these two trying to build around them would be a lot of fun. And just to see where they go this season, because they got traded in the middle of the season, so it's going to be fun to actually see them now, like start from the beginning with the Brooklyn Nets, and just to see, where they land. They have a chance of getting something like a play-in spot, maybe even sneaking their way as like a 6 seed again. So yeah, they're a fun team. Next up is the Atlanta Hawks. They're more of like, I would want to watch Trae and Murray. I like those two players. Trae Young is obviously, would we consider him a superstar? I don't know if he's a superstar. Well, he gets a contract like a superstar. People would consider him as a superstar. So yeah, we'll say superstar. So he's a superstar player. So he's just someone who's always fun to watch as well. Obviously, I have my dislikes towards him because of him and the Knicks. Murray, I was just happy that he left the Spurs finally and was able to join a team like the Hawks. They're just another team where I'm going to be honest, off the bat, I don't think they're a championship team, but they do seem like a fun regular season team to just tune in. I don't know. It's just like the Hawks, they're in a weird spot. I want them to do really good, but I don't know if they'll ever get to that spot like the 2022 playoffs, I think it was, or the 2021 playoffs, whichever one it was, where they ended up going to like the Eastern Conference. There's always that possibility, but it's more of like, I just want to watch those two guys. I don't really know where they're gonna land. I could see them probably getting a play-in spot this season. Nothing higher than that though. They could probably make the playoffs, but yeah, there's really not much to say about them. Next up is the Washington Wizards. Now, the Washington Wizards have finally, after their fans begging for it, they are finally doing a rebuild. And on their team right now, they have Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole, who unfortunately has not seen any baddies on the court, it seems, because he is just depressed. I'm sure you've all seen the photo of him just being sad all the time. And yeah, he just looks like he hates basketball now. Ever since he got traded from the Warriors, I guess he just doesn't care anymore, maybe? I don't know. But they're another team where I like Kyle, I like Jordan Poole, and I think that's going to be a really interesting duo, which is why I'm telling you guys that you should tune in. You should watch at least a couple games just to see how they play with each other. I think that's going to be a fun little duo. I don't know if it's going to last. I wouldn't be surprised if they get traded during the season, because I'm sure the Wizards are looking for more assets, which is why they most likely re-signed Kyle and traded Jordan Poole. So I'm sure they're not trying to win a championship anytime soon, so don't be surprised if they get traded. Next up is the Detroit Pistons. I always tell people that you should always try to watch the Pistons, just because I do really like the Pistons. I always like the young guys they have, and again, this is just another season where I feel like they have a chance at doing really good. I think they have a shot at getting the play-in this year. You have Cade Cunningham. Was it Amon Thompson? I think it was Amon Thompson. Oh no, is it Asar or Amon that went to them? Let's look right now. One of the Thompson twins went to the Pistons, because it was supposed to be, I think, Cam Whitmore, but they didn't re-sign him. They didn't draft him, so I was like, what? Why would they not do that? Asar. They got Asar Thompson. So he's a really good young rookie that people are going to want to keep their eyes on. They have James Wiseman, who hopefully he can bring his career back in shape. They have Jalen Duren, as I said, Cade Cunningham, Marvin Bagley. They have where's Isaiah Stewart? There he is. They have Joe Harris, which I like Joe Harris. They have Alec Burks, Bojan Bogdanovic. So they have players that are definitely going to be like, hey, you should watch them, because they seem like they look like they're going to be a fun team this season. Whether they win or lose, they seem like their games are just going to be fun to watch. So that's why I have them in the C tier. Next is the Timberwolves. And I could give a whole explanation as to why the Timberwolves you should watch, but I'm just going to say of one simple reason, and it's Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards, yes, I'm probably overhyping him, so is everybody else, but Anthony Edwards is definitely going to be a superstar. There's no doubt in my mind that in the future, we will be saying that Anthony Edwards is like a top 10 player in the league. He is so phenomenal to watch. And just him alone, you guys should check out the Timberwolves. Enough said. Next up is the Pelicans. The Pelicans I put on the C tier, just for the reason of Brandon Ingram, and hopefully maybe we'll see Zion Williamson come back this season. So hopefully they can go into that next step. I think they made the play-in last season. I don't think they did they make the playoffs? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they made the playoffs because they faced the, check the standings from last season. Oh, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. I'm thinking of the previous year when they faced the Suns and they forced them to like 6 games or something like that. It was the Timberwolves that made it. The Timberwolves were the ones that faced the Nuggets, and that's what made me really shocked about Anthony Edwards and how good he could be. So the Pelicans did make the play-in this season again, and it seems like we're definitely going to see them a lot in the play-ins. I do think there's a potential chance that they could get like a 6 seed this season. I think they could be one of those dark horse teams that like get a guaranteed playoff spot. So that's why I said definitely watch the Pelicans. Brandon Ingram's just going to get better. As I said, hopefully Zion Williamson starts doing things. Didn't they get Jordan? I think they got that Jordan guy that everyone was hyping about. Jordan Hawkins, who I really like. So yeah, definitely check them out this season. We have the Rockets, which the Rockets I put on here might watch some games just because I just want to see how the team works. They got Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet, yes, on contracts that were way too pricey. I already explained that in previous episodes. I'm not going to explain it again how I felt about it. But they did get them. They have Brooks, they have Fred, they have Amon Thompson, they have Jabari Smith, Jalen Green, Sengun, who I'm very high on, Kevin Porter Jr. They have, Cam Whitmore. They got Cam Whitmore, which is still shocking to me that they were able to get him. So that's why I should put them higher, but I felt like that'd be overhyping them too much. So that's why I put them on the C tier. Just check them out. I think they're going to have a really fun season. I could see them potentially getting a play-in spot, especially with having Brooks and Fred, who both already have experience when it comes to the playoffs, one having championship experience. This would be fun. It's just going to be a fun team to watch. So definitely tune into the Rockets. And the last team I have on the C tier is the Charlotte Hornets. It's more of the case of just checking out LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller. Who else do they have? I think that's really the guys where I'm like, you really should check them out. And now with having a new ownership, hopefully they start trying to do some more trades. I know Miles Bridges is also potentially coming back. I don't really want him to. Who else is good on here? I mean, they have Kelly Oubre. I like Kelly Oubre. But for me, the main two that I'm more concerned about when it comes to watching is Ball and Miller. Just see how these two work and if they can be like a dynamic duo or something. So, yeah, just watch the number 2 overall pick from this season, see how he goes. Obviously, he already isn't having a good start because he did terrible in the Summer League. But again, that's the first rule when it comes to the Summer League that you always need to remember is that it's the Summer League. So take everything in there with a grain of salt. Now, let's move on to the B tier. The B tier is keep an eye on. These are the teams that, as the name says, you want to keep an eye on this season because they have a good shot at being really good this season. First up is the 76ers. So, I put them on here, I'll say this. Either they're going to be really good or big things are going to happen for that team. I'll say that to clarify more. So, the 76ers. We just talked about Joel Embiid potentially getting traded, so that's what I mean by keep an eye on because we're going to see really how this season's going to determine if he gets traded or not. If they can't make it far or even win a championship, oh my goodness, I keep burping. A championship this season, then most likely Joel's leaving. It's just to see, what the 76ers do. Are they going to try very hard? Is Joel going to try to do his very best to help this team win like he always does? Or is he just going to be like, you know what? I'm going to leave. So I'm just going to do my thing here and I'm going to ask for a trade next season. Or is he going to be like everyone else where he asks for a trade in like the middle of like the trade deadline or something? Next up is my team, the New York Knicks. It's no surprise here. I want to put them higher. I would have put them in the S tier as like must watch TV, but then that would have been trolling. So I figured that I'll put them right in the B tier. That seems like a good spot for them. The New York Knicks have, they shocked the whole world last season when they ended up going all the way to the second round, which nobody expected. I didn't expect them to go that far. So it was very fun to see them. And what was it? They forced like 6 games on the Heat. They obviously have Jalen Brunson, who had a huge jump this season and he definitely got robbed when it came to not being an all-star. You have Julius Randle, who's always doing good in the regular season. RJ Barrett, who hopefully he does better. They got Dante DiVincenzo. They got Josh Hart, IQ. I already named all the players earlier, so you know who's on there. So they're just one of those teams where all they can do now is just get better. They got the 5th seed last year, so I'm expecting them to get that same exact seed or even higher. So definitely expect some good winning when it comes to the Knicks and just probably fun basketball. Next up is the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat I would have put higher, but we still have to wait with the trade the trade with Damian Lillard. If Damian Lillard was like for sure on the team already, I would have put them way higher on this tier. So that's why I said to keep an eye on them, because we still have to see if that trade's is just going to happen or not. And it's always fun, just watching Jimmy, watching Bam, watching Tyler Hero. So that's why I have them on the B tier. They're just fun to watch. I definitely plan on seeing a couple games here and there. I just love watching the Heat. They're a very fun team, in my opinion. Next we have the Indiana Pacers. This is more of just watching Tyrese Halliburton. They also just got Bruce Brown. They got Obi Toppin, and I've been telling people that I think this is going to be the year where Obi Toppin shows everybody how good he can be, why he was, player of the year in college. And yeah, that's just all I have to say for that. So that's why I feel like they have maybe one of the highest chances of shocking everybody this season. I wouldn't be surprised if they have like a Sacramento Kings type season where they just had this crazy season no one expected. Next is the Orlando Magic. I really just put them on the B tier mainly for Banchero. You guys know how I feel about Banchero. I think he's going to be an absolute star in this league. I have such high hopes for him. I really do like the fit when it comes to him being in Orlando. So yeah, just him alone, I think you should watch the Magic. Next is the Memphis Grizzlies. They should be higher, but unfortunately with Ja Morant being gone for the first 25 games, that's why I put him on the B tier. Just keep an eye on how the Grizzlies are without Ja, how they're going to be with having Marcus Smart and someone like Derrick Rose, 2 good veterans that will hopefully help this young team get their senses together. And seeing someone like Desmond Bane just keep playing good, especially he better be playing good after that contract he got this free agency. So yeah, just see how they do this season. I don't know if they're going to get like a top 2 again, like they did last year. I highly doubt it, but I do have full confidence in them being at least a playoff team. Next is the Golden State Warriors. This is the first year in maybe a few years where I just don't know how to feel about the team. Their dynasty has come to an end, and I don't know how I feel about it. Again, they always prove us wrong, which is why I put them on this tier, because you have to keep an eye on the Warriors. They're not one of those teams that probably have the highest chances of winning a championship, but again, don't sleep on the Warriors. Do not sleep on Steph Curry. If you sleep on him, he will not hesitate to prove you wrong and, run past you if you're not keeping your guard up. They can be scary when they're good. So, yeah. Next is the Thunder. It's just more about the young guys and watching them play. The Mavericks, again, more of just Luka and Kyrie, seeing how that duo works and if they can make this a playoff caliber team. And lastly, the last team on the B tier is the Trailblazers. This is more of just seeing, Scoot Henderson, how he plays and how he transitions into the NBA. Are we going to see Damian Lillard play any games potentially? Will the Trailblazers just say, you know what, we're not going to do the trade? Because remember, they just signed a max extension that's going to, I think, start this season. I could be wrong on that, but he at least has a good amount of years. So the Trailblazers could just wait on it and be like, you know what? No, we're going to do it on our own time when we want to. And then Damian Lillard might play with them. Maybe he'll sit out and just, accept the fines or something. So that's why I'm interested in that team and just, what they do. Next is the A tier. This one, I called it definitely check them out. There's 5 teams on here. First one being the Bucks. We're going to see a season where Giannis just got taken out in the first round, and he was not happy, as we all know. So I'm expecting Giannis to come at full force this season and just show everybody that they are still championship contenders. I had them as winning it last season, and I might have them winning it again this season, to be quite honest with you all. It's just going to be scary. You're going to see Giannis, who is ready to show that last year was a fluke and that he can win a second championship. So that's why I have them on the A tier. Next is the Cavaliers. They have Donovan Mitchell, and their team just getting better and better with Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. They just got that Imani Bates guy, is that his name? And he played phenomenal in Summer League. So I definitely expect him to be getting some minutes this season. That would be criminal if they don't give him any minutes. They have Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Isaac Okoro, Ricky Rubio. Who's another guy? Damon Jones. I like him, but not someone I'm like, oh, he's going to definitely help the team or something. So, yeah, they're another team where it's like they always seem like they're going to do good. And after losing to the Knicks like how they did in 5 games, they definitely are going to want to redeem themselves. So, expect a lot of good stuff from them this season. Next up is the Sacramento Kings. I definitely do expect them to have another good season. They finally made the playoffs after like 20-something years, whatever it was. So you have De'Aaron Fox, who finally has proven that he's a good player and was able to show it. Domantas Sabonis, who's always good. He's always good. So I expect a lot from that team. Do I think they're going to get the 3rd seed again? I don't know. Again, the West is looking a little bit different than it was last season, so it might be a little bit tougher to get that top 3 spot. Next up is the Phoenix Suns. I should put them on must-watch TV. I decided not on it. I don't know why. It's just, you know what? No. You know what? We'll talk about the Suns later. I'm going to put them on the S tier of must-watch TV. I'll put them on there and I'll talk about them. So the last team I have on here for the A tier is the Spurs. And it just comes down to one man. It's Victor Wembanyama. If you're not going to watch Victor Wembanyama this season, then what are you doing? You got to watch the Spurs. You got to see how he does. They're hyping him up. They hyped him up to be the greatest player since LeBron James. You've heard it plenty of times. So I'm expecting him to be really good. Obviously, I don't think he's going to win a chip or anything for the team in his first year, but he's definitely someone I'm going to keep my eye on and just see how he does in the league. So now let's move on to the final tier, and that's must-watch TV. These are the teams where you got to watch them. You got to watch as many games as you can for these teams because they're going to have a really fun season, and I expect a lot from them. And that's 4 teams. First is the Boston Celtics. They just got Kristaps Porzingis and had, unfortunately, a pretty bad ending to their playoff run. So Jason and I'm sure Jaylen Brown are looking at each other and like, we got to prove to everyone that we can win a chip because everyone's been looking at us and thinking that, one of us should be traded. And we just got Kristaps Porzingis on the team. They have to feel like, okay, maybe we have another chance this season. So expect a lot from them. I could see them maybe getting the 1st seed this season. I think they've had the 1st seed before. Let's actually check the previous years on here. Let's see. Didn't they have a 1st seed at one point? Well, I guess not. Well, I'll say this. During the seasons, they have a lot of times where they are the 1st seed. They were the 2nd seed this past season, so I expect them to be a top 2 or top 3 team again. And yeah, it's Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum's just fun to watch. Jalen's fun to watch. It's going to be interesting to see Kristaps Porzingis on a team that he can actually compete on. So I would love to see how he can transition from that. And yeah, that's just going to be a fun team. Next is the Denver Nuggets. It's a no-brainer here that the Denver Nuggets are must-watch TV. They are the reigning NBA champions. So you have to watch them. You have to see how are they gonna play this season. They're heading into the season where, I mean, if you're the champions, your next goal is just to win again. So you're going to look at this team and be like, can they win 2 championships in a row? A lot of people started hyping them up to being like, can they be the next dynasty? I think the Nuggets do have a chance of being like a good dynasty. I'm not going to go that far yet and be like they're a for sure dynasty because they just won the chip. Everyone always hypes up the teams trying to say that. So I'm not going to get into too much of that. But you have Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. If you look at the roster overall, besides Bruce Brown, they have most of their players back. So why would they not be a good team again? They had the first seed last season. There's probably maybe at most 4 teams I could see maybe take that first seed away from them, but there's no way. No, Nikola Jokic is probably gonna have another incredible season where he wins MVP. He should have won last season, but hopefully he does good again, where he can win the trophy again. Even though I know he doesn't really care about it, still, I think he's gonna have a great season. Overall, I think the team's just gonna do great. Third is the Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers had an incredible A+ offseason. They got players that are going to be good around LeBron, AD, and the rest of these amazing men. They're going to have a fun season. And I said it before, and I'll say it again, I expect nothing but a top 3 stand-in this season. They better be top 3 when the season ends. I expect a lot from the Lakers. I think this is finally the time where they end up being, a good team again and could be championship contenders. And last but not least, the Phoenix Suns. I was about to talk about them and decided to move it up because the reason why is just, well, they are must-watch TV in my opinion. So in case you guys forget, let me remind you what the potential starting 5 is going to be. Let's see, at the 1, what are we looking at here? At the 1 is what? Probably going to be Bradley Beal. At the 2, we'll say Devin Booker. At the 3, we're looking at maybe like Torrey Craig at the 3, or TJ Warren. At the 4, Kevin Durant. And then at the 5, you're looking at DeAndre Ayton, which, yes, I know he didn't have a great season, so it might not be as crazy to say, but still, DeAndre Ayton is a pretty okay player, so I have to put him in the lineup. But you're looking at Beal, Booker, and Durant all in the same lineup. That offensive game is going to be scary. And we were all wondering, like, oh my God, but what are they going to do defensively? We saw last playoffs that if they don't have a good supporting cast, they're not going to do good. And guess what they did? They got a supporting cast. So they are definitely favorites when it comes to winning the championship this season. Who knows? Maybe my prediction from, I think it was from this past season, I had predicted the Suns and Bucks facing each other. And no, it wasn't this season. It was the previous season that I had them facing each other. Obviously, they had it. Actually, wasn't that the season that Giannis did win? No, that was the one that the Warriors won. So, like 2 or 3 years beforehand, obviously we saw the Suns and Bucks. So I think we have a high chance of seeing that again this season. I think we can see a rematch between the Bucks and the Suns, and this time actually having a really good team around them. So yeah, that'll be fun with them. I just think they're must-watch TV. They have incredible players around them where it would just be silly if you don't check them out. Like, if they're on TV, you better sit down, even if it's just 5 minutes, watch them. Watch them. I don't care if it's only like 20 seconds left in the game. Just check them out to see how well they do, because they are going to make a huge impact this season. And with that, that's all I really have to say for my tiers there. That's how I feel. I'm pretty sure I said every team. Hopefully I didn't forget a team there. If you feel like there was somewhere where maybe a team should have been higher, that I would actually put them on this tier, and you can give me a reason. I do not mind it. I am always open to hear everyone and how they feel about stuff. But with that out of the way, that will conclude episode 9 of this podcast. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know it was only 2 topics, but I was able to talk for almost an hour and a half just about Joel and all this stuff. Obviously, I do have more plans to talk about, which I did mention earlier. It's just that since we're still pretty early on in the off season, I don't want to talk about all of it yet until we get closer to the season. So definitely expect more from that. When it comes to things like, games and stuff, I definitely do plan on watching most of the games during the regular season. I even had to change my schedule around for my job. So hopefully, start watching more games and stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to watch all, if not almost every game every day. Probably not every day because, yes, I have a life outside of doing podcasts. So again, thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to share this podcast with anyone around you. It really helps a lot. If you want to follow my socials, I have my Instagram, which should be somewhere in the Spotify description. Again, do definitely expect the YouTube to be here very, very soon. I finally was able to figure things out on what I was going to do for it. As I said before, it's just going to be like audio again for the first 8 episodes. Hopefully this episode right now, I can, oh my god, I keep hiccuping. I can, edit it and do some things. If not, it'll just be another audio and then I'll work my way from there. But I will try to make this one, have some editing and nice stuff on it. So yeah, there's that. But, this is the What's Next on Basketball podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jeremy, and I'm signing off. Have a good day, everybody.